Right now, in this country, the most recent studies and surveys that I have any confidence in show that about 70% of the media is liberal or registered as Democrats. A recent study showed that 9-to-1 journalists were donating to the Democratic Party over the Republican Party. It is, of course, Senator Dianne Feinstein's right to suggest that there be something called a fairness doctrine reasserted. A number of the commissioners on the FCC are interested in doing precisely the same, and I'm sure that will give a thrill to the more traditional and to the larger number of people who practice this craft as objective journalists, for whom I have the greatest and highest respect. But the fact of the matter is, the one group of people being so little noted or served in this town is also among those least acknowledged and served well by the national media. Let me give you a number of cases in point. The choice in our national and mainstream media to refer to illegal aliens as undocumented workers, as undocumented immigrants, are my very favorite recent label that has been used in a number of national publications. Not simply migrant, which really tells you how strong the drift is to orthodoxy on the part of some in the mainstream media, but just simply entrant. Doesn't that sort of capture the thing? There's a popular email going around the web talking about, if we are to call illegal aliens undocumented workers, does that mean we are to call drug dealers unlicensed pharmacists? I frankly, and on the left or the right, I've been attacked as racist, xenophobic, and economic isolationist. And what's great about that as a journalist is I've been attacked from the left and the right with great energy, in some cases using the same expression. The left, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Nation; on the right, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the National Association of Manufacturers, the op-ed pages of the Wall Street Journal. One group attacking me for being absolutely adamant about establishing border security, and on the right, absolutely sincere in their desire to remove me from the confines of these shores because I am opposed to running 31 consecutive years of deficits as a result of so-called free trade and running up a $6 trillion trade deficit. I am the only journalist, and Mark, you should take notes on this, that I'm aware of. I'm the only journalist who has a group of Democrats named for him, the Lou Dobbs Democrats, who were brought in last November, to some disappointment, I'm told, on the part of some of their constituents already, but I think they're going to, with my inspiration, do better. And on the Republican side, what's called the Lou Dobbs wing of the Republican Party, both of which I think are meant to be aggrandizing, just glowing endorsements of their role within the respective parties. Don't you think that's what it is? In both cases, I'm correctly identified as a populist. People ask me, what is a populist? And I said, well, let's begin with the definition of what it is, the antonym of. What is its opposite? I'm a populist because I'm opposed to elitists. And elitists right now are driving this fair city and the national agenda. When I talk about the importance of an independent, nonpartisan reality as my purview, as my goal as an advocacy journalist to attain, I do so because we have reached a state in this country where we're talking a lot about fair and balanced and objective news. Let me tell you what objective news and fair and balanced is today as far as I can discern in the national media. Fair and balanced means that every reporter on, whether it's the whatever news organization, nameless, whether print or electronic, goes out and usually working with a shorter staffed editorial department, goes out and gets a Republican view and a Democratic view, includes those under his byline if it happens to be print, or in his or her field report if it happens to be an electronic report, a field report on television or radio. And my goodness, just like that, the journalist has done his or her job. Isn't that wonderful? We now have a Republican and a Democratic view, as if that were the criterion for fair and balanced. That's where we are. This is happening at the same time that news budgets are being cut in newspapers and magazines, television stations and networks around the country. The issue of objective journalism is the dominant responsibility of all news organizations. But there are news organizations so just absolutely frustrated that I could actually express an opinion on a 1-hour broadcast on CNN that they attack me with all of the, well, just the thrill and exuberance that, frankly, I bring to my criticism of the Republican and Democratic parties, liberals and conservatives, and this government that is failing to demonstrate any competence in just about every department in this city, failing an entire generation of Americans. Where is the national debate on the fact that half of all male Hispanics and male blacks in this country are dropping out of high school? Where is that discussion? Why has there not been a discussion in the national media about the impact of illegal immigration? Why has there not been a discussion in the national media about the exorbitant cost in human life and in treasure to the war in Iraq? Why is it that my broadcast is the only one reporting casualties, those killed and wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan every night? Why is it that we are not looking at the war and terror and looking at the cost in terms of $500 million, on our way to $1 trillion, in understanding that this military of ours, with the prospect of 15-month tours, National Guard and Reserve, some of which have served 3 and 4 tours in Iraq, cannot sustain, and that if we continue simply the economic path that we're on, that economic ratio assures radical Islamist terrorists a victory over the United States.